Everyone, welcome to the live stream. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Say hi as you're coming in. We've got a really good topic today. This question that the client asked me, as well as the conversation I was having with some friends. So if you prefer to watch me on Facebook or YouTube, go over there and watch me. I'm live here on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depends on where you're watching from. Good to see you guys here. Let me just make sure this is shared, and then we're going to get started. Hello. Okay, so let's say hi as you're coming in. It's so good to see you guys here. Hi, Instagram. Hi, TikTok. Hi, YouTube. Hi, Facebook. Let me just make sure this is all done. Okay, let me share this. We're going to get started in a moment. Feel free to share this live with somebody else. Hi. Feel free to share this live with somebody else and to invite others in. As we get started in just a moment, I'm doing some sharing. So if you would like to share, I would love for you to share also. So let me just go ahead and share now. Hope everybody's doing well. And we're going to start in just a second. I just need to share it to one more place. I love this music. It is my friend Quadrius has made this for me. I can send you this information if you'd like. All right, let's get into today's session. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome everybody, wherever you're watching me from, wherever you are in the world. Do go ahead and put what city, state, country you're in, or where you're from if you don't want to share your exact location. But go ahead and let me know in the comments here on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. So good to see you all here. I'm so glad to be able to be live with you all today. And I pray you're having an amazing Thursday. It's been an amazing week. I've had such a busy day, but I thought, let me come on in and go live. I want to share a few things with you. Yes, Jared. That's what I'm talking about. Men who love you provide. And it might not be what you think, because I've been doing some studies, as well as I had a conversation with some friends earlier, and a few clients of mine had a question. And so I wrote this long post. I sent this audio note to some friends, and we were discussing this for a little while. And so I said, you know what, I'm actually going to go live and talk about this, and then we will see where we go from in this conversation. So first of all, if you are new to me, or whether you've seen me for the first time or your millionth time, my name is Rachel-Yvonne, and I am your godly femininity mentor. One of my goals is that every single woman would know that they're the woman of their own dreams, okay? And that you would live the life that God actually described for you to have. And so the question was asked of me, what does providing look like, and what is provision? And so I sat with it for a moment, and I thought about it, and I was like, such a great question. And so to me, providing means full masculine covering. And that is a man who takes care of financial, physical, emotional well-being of his family. And the thing is about this is a lot of people limit it only to finances. And they're like, oh, he's a financial provider. And they always go to the fullest extent of that, which is fine. However, when we look biblically, it means something else entirely. It means more than just that. And I'm also going to talk about women, how we show up in that space, what is required of us, and how we can also make that situation a happy one, because there are men who provide and they're not happy, who are not being seen, known, and loved in the way that they would like. And there are also men on the other side who are very happy in doing that. And so when we talk about this idea, it is about this idea of allowing his wife to focus on her feminine role without stress, struggle, or financial burden. I don't know if anybody on here, any of the ladies that are watching, have ever been under financial burden, especially if you've been in a relationship. I feel like when you're under financial burden in a relationship or marriage, it feels 1000% worse than when you are single for some reason. I was watching a video that Gabrielle Union did a video. She's an actress, an American actress. And years ago, she had said that in her marriage to Dwayne Wade, she loves that they share everything half and half. And she loves that dynamic because it makes her feel like she's bringing something. It makes her feel like she's doing a great job and it feels good to her. However, there is this new clip that has arisen, and she went on a another podcast like interview recently, and she said that hyper independence, well, she didn't really say this, but this is something I gleaned from the video, was that it was a trauma response by not allowing her husband to provide when he made like millions more than her. So when people talk about this idea of wealth and whatnot, what's interesting is that with Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, they're both successful people in their own right. Gabrielle's an actress and Dwayne is a athlete. And so they have different levels of finances. And some people say, oh, we shouldn't talk about rich people's, whatever. But listen to this. What I found interesting about her story wasn't about the money, wasn't about any of this, but it was that she said, and she inferred by her conversation, that hyper independence was a trauma response. And I'm going to embellish the story because I haven't watched the full interview, but the parts that I watched, and it instantly made me think, like the wheels in my head started turning and turning. And I was thinking about this and I realized this, that oftentimes when it comes to women, one of the reasons why we end up going harder and why you see sometimes in business, a lot of the times, a lot of the new millionaires that are coming out now are women. Because when a woman has decided that she has to do it by herself, she doesn't let anything stop her. And there's a way that we can be driven in a different way to a man. But oftentimes, and not every time, because this, someone's going to say not all times or not everybody, but a lot of times, and even in my experience, I've had women who are multiple 6, 7, 8 figure earners be clients of mine, and when we do one-on-one coaching, the number one thing they tell me, and I've seen this happen time and time again, is that this idea of the reason why they've gone so hard in business was really so they can have something to focus on outside of a relationship because it hadn't worked out the way they want. So what I want is that for all of us, men and women alike, is for us to get to this place where we don't allow external circumstances to change our individual desires. And I know that's difficult because as we live, as we grow, as we experience different things do happen in our life. There are different situations that we go into, or there are different experiences that we have that will change how we view things. So if we were to watch again this session with Gabrielle Union, she realizes that it was a trauma response. So my question to you all today is, where in your life are you responding out of trauma and not out of the fact that you are a treasure? I had to think of a T word there. I'm a preacher, so like to come up with these little catchy phrases, a little bit corny, but whatever. So where in your life are you showing up as though it's a trauma response instead of showing up as a treasure? And when you do that, you will begin to see that maybe, have I responded to this situation in the best way? So for example, when your man says, oh, he's got this, he's taking care of that, do you say to yourself, oh, does he think I can't do it? Oh, am I not enough? Does he think that I'm stupid? Rather than, thank you so much, receive it with love, with joy, and in return, what do you give him? But if you're only always like acting like, oh, he thinks I'm stupid or whatever, rather than embracing and being receptive. One of the biggest femininity traits is to be receptive. A man's provision is a reflection of his ability to lead, protect, and secure the future of his family. Provision is a demonstration of his commitment and his leadership because he's thinking about the bigger picture. And remember, always when I'm talking about this, you all know I'm not talking about every man, and I'm definitely not talking about every woman. I am talking about a specific kind of person, a person who has these values. And honestly, in what I tend to share is really from a faith-based background. I'm a minister, been a minister for over 20 years. And one of the things that I've always seen in the Bible is, let's go to Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians 5 says, verse 25 says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. And later on, and earlier on in that passage, or later on in the passage, it tells us that wives love your husband. No, wives respect your husband, honor your husband. Because when a man feels disrespected, he is not going to show up in the way that he could when he feels like he's been honored, respected, and seen. A good man will continue to provide and do all the things he should do, especially if he has children that you've got together and you're married. He's still going to show up and provide, but the joy won't be there. And my goal is always this, that as a woman, you will be the woman of your own dreams. And then therefore you live the life of your dreams. And that includes every interaction, that you're not just with a man who's providing out of obligation, but he's actually providing because there's a joy in it for him. And so it's not just about him speaking love. So I've had some women come up to me recently in my DMs and whatever, and talk about how their boyfriend or their fiance is saying he's going to do this, he's going to this, he's going to do this. But we don't. So words are important, of course. And we believe that if you're with a man who has integrity, then words are very important. However, it is about, does his words line up with his actions? And you need to be the same. You can't be saying that you are a prize and that you are this and you are that, but you're acting like a dollar bill. That everything has to make sense. And you might say, well, Rachel, I'm still working on myself. There's still areas of me that I'm going to get better and whatever. And yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that 1000%. But yes, provision is biblical. Good evening. Good to see you. Provision is biblical. And yes, a man's ability to provide is woven into the order of marriage and family, because when he understands God's design, he knows that covering his wife is an honor, not a burden. But there are ways that we work together so it doesn't feel burdensome. It doesn't feel burdensome. And this month in our Magnet, I'm doing a 21-day event called Magnetize March. And if you want to join me, it's only $27. I'm going to go ahead. I keep forgetting to put the link here. Let me go ahead and put the link real quick. But one thing I realize is that sometimes we say things, and we say things like, women will be like, oh, I want a provider. I want this. I want that. I want that. But then you're not really thinking about the other part of it. Like, who am I in that situation? Is this even something I want? Got to be clear on this, because when you don't know what you desire, when things come to you, you won't know what you're supposed to do. I can't multitask. So let that land for a second while I work on this link. Because what I've realized is that when we say things, we've got to make sure that our actions and how we show up reflects that. And I know we've all been guilty of it. I'm going to put both hands up. We've all been guilty of it. We've all been guilty of it. But when you know better, what do? You do better. When you see that certain things are not bringing you, I can't think and type, magnetize in. Let me pause for a second and finish writing this link correctly. I've had such a long day. So if my voice sounds different, that's because I've had a long day and I talk a lot. So let me just, it's like I taught Bible study last night, right? For those of you that joined us on Zoom. And we were talking from the book of Romans about moving from slavery to sonship, of knowing the difference between, now that you're a son, like knowing that you're a son of God, how do you show up? And this goes for us as husbands and wives. How do we show up? So a man who loves you will provide for you, no exceptions. However, is it a joy for him or is it a burden? Is it his love and his delight, or is it an obligation? We've got to decide what is it that we actually desire and what is it that we want, and then show up as that person. When you don't show up as that person, then there is this imbalance that happens. Let me just write the comment here. Hold on one second. When we don't show up honestly as what we really want, magnetize in March. There we go. Just want to copy it and paste it. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, you can see the link there. There we go. Let me just pin this. So if you want to join us for the 21-day challenge, it's only $27. So you can join us now. But if you would like to get, like, if you want to have a private conversation with me, private consultation, that's also available. So you can send me a message and then we'll discuss what that looks like. I've also put together a godly femininity workshop for churches. And if you'd like to look at that, I can come to your church. I can do it online. Doesn't matter. Then you can reach out to me. I'm also looking for those women who want to add godly femininity modules to your own coaching practice, or you want to add it to what you're doing. I'm also teaching that as well. But let me just get back to what we're saying here today. So when you see this, provision is protection. So when a man is covered, when woman is covered, she feels safe, secure, and free to operate in her highest calling. All right. And it's also an honor. So as I said, is providing for you an honor or a burden? Is providing for you bringing him joy, or does it feel like an obligation? Because they're not the same thing. But when you understand this, you know that you don't have to chase for this. As a woman, you don't have to chase for this. You don't have to beg for this. And you don't need to audition for this. However, the kind of woman that you need to be is a woman who has high standards, not just for other people. Yes, you can copy and paste the link if you'd like to join. And I can also DM you afterwards, or DM me, and then I will send you the link. She receives it. Okay, so a woman who receives provision is not a woman who demands provision out of entitlement, but she receives it as a reflection of who she is. She receives it as a reflection of who she is. Hey, law-abiding citizen, are you following me? And then if you are, I will send you the message right after we're done. You receive it as a reflection of who you are, not because you feel entitled to it. So we need to lose the entitlement and realize that this is the kind of woman that I am. And when you know this, you will start to embody and receive and magnetize. So these 21 days, we're talking about magnetize in March. What are the things that you want to be a magnet for as a godly woman? The other thing about a woman who is provided for, she is a woman of divine favor. The Bible says, who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So a wife is a blessing, a multiplier, and her presence adds to his life. So you got to think about this. What is it that you are bringing in terms of joy to his life? And then she is a woman who is of wisdom and grace. Proverbs 14 verse 1 says, a wise woman builds her home. She knows how to nurture, to inspire, and to create an environment that he feels conducive in order to continue to do what he's doing. So some people are like, one of my friends always says, men don't want peace, they want drama. And I think it's really funny. But a man who is in his godly masculine energy and knows who he is, he does desire this. He brings stability, but at the same time, at home is where he finds rest, honor, and respect. And then, of course, another trait of a woman who's always provided for is that she is a multiplier. So a high caliber woman doesn't just take, she builds, not in terms of being a Barbara the builder, not talking about that. We're talking about you're multiplying what is given to you, whether it's resources, his vision, or his legacy, giving birth to children, going after the things that you desire. And what I've realized is that when a man actually likes you, he does these things even before you get married. Now, as we know, biblically, only your husband is the one who is obligated to do this. However, Good men will always show up, that they will show these traits from when you are dating. But again, I'm always going to show you both sides. I'm always going to tell you about what the Bible says as it relates to masculinity and leadership from the male point of view, but I'm always going to come back on us as ladies. And so, how do you magnetize this kind of lifestyle and knowing that you operate in receiving? You must learn to receive. So many people pretend, and this is where it goes back to what I was saying earlier about what are your true desires. When I do coaching calls with people, one of the first questions I'm asking is, what are your true desires? What is it you actually want? Not from this call, but in general, what are your true desires? When you're able to answer that, then we can get started on whatever it is that we're going to be doing together in that session or moving forward in our coaching experience. What are your true desires? Because when you don't know what your desires are, then you will accept any and everything. As women, we are natural magnets. However, you will magnetize to you things that don't belong to you. You will magnetize to you things that you were never meant to be a part of your lifestyle or a part of who you are. And so that's what we've got to be careful about. Let me see if I can pin this comment. Okay, it's pinned. So I've pinned the link for, I don't think you can click on it in TikTok, but if you send me a message, I will send you the link afterwards. Only $27. We're doing a 21-day experience. We're on day 3, but everything you need, once you join, you see everything inside when you join us. Okay. So also, she operates in receiving energy. She's not in competition with her man. She's in alignment with her man. Thank you so much. She moves with elegance and wisdom. So a man with resources and vision will not invest in a woman who drains him. He is drawn to a woman who adds the softness to his life, who adds value to his life. And you know how you do that? Because you are a woman who knows her own self. You're not needy, you're not moany, you're not nagging, you're not complaining, you're not argumentative, you're not defensive, you're not hard, you are soft. And he needs that energy in order to keep doing what he's doing. I can't tell you how many times a man will say that you inspire him, you inspire him to do better, you inspire him to go after things. He wants to please you. However, when we operate from this level, a man who loves you will never make you fight for what he's called to give. And provision is his promise because it shows his act of devotion, covering, and also commitment. So it's a divine alignment that we have in this idea of what it means to provide and why it's important. But when you are the woman of your own dreams, that means that he's looking at your life and he sees. So when it comes to pursuit, this idea of a man pursuing, he's already looking. A marriage-minded man know what he wants in his wife. A marriage-minded man. Let's talk about that for a second. We're not talking about every Tom, Dick, and Harry. We're not talking about that. We are talking about a marriage-minded man. Those men know what they need for the future, what they need for this season, the next season. They're thinking about the bigger vision. Do you know that I know people like, I see all these TikTok videos and I get sent them as well, where men are talking about submission, but none of them mention the scriptures on what the Bible says about it. Submission just means to come under a mission. So what is the mission of our life? What is it that we are doing? And a godly man, as I said, who desires to be a husband or is a husband, is a man who has a vision. He has a mission. And I've used this example a million times of, you have this dream of having a homestead in the suburbs of Texas, and you want to have a quiet lifestyle. You want to be like Nara Smith, and you want to have a quiet lifestyle. You want to do what you're doing, have a little farm, maybe do all these things. And your husband is thinking about, he wants to go, or the man that you think you'd like, he wants to go and do mission trips in Thailand. He's like, yeah, I feel super cool to go to Thailand. We're going to go there. We're going to live off the ground. We're going to, live with the people. We're going to do all these things. We're going to go out into the interiors, and we're going to live a very, what's the word? When you peel back the layers, a very toned down lifestyle. But in your head and what you had designed, and you pray about it, you say, God, like, is this right for me? That's why I say being the woman of your own dreams matters so much, because when you are clear, I remember this. I'll tell you this like story from some years ago, that I do pageants, right? So I do beauty pageants. I'm not doing one. I might do one this year. I'm not sure. Anyway, I do beauty pageants. And I remember I was out with this gentleman. We were on a date, and I was telling him about the pageants, and he was asking me questions. And then he turns around to me and he says that, hey, why don't you, and he gave me a whole business idea, because he's a businessman. He gave me this whole business idea, and then also became the first person to invest in it. And that was without prompting, without questioning, without requiring. I wasn't requiring it. But because he listened to my heart and he heard how passionate I was about, there's a charity that I'm building that helps young girls who are unable to be provided for, and helps them to start a small business and so on and so forth. And so he was just like, oh my gosh, I want to help. Because when you're clear, I am crystal clear about the vision for my life. Are you crystal clear about the vision for your life? Because you will magnetize pretty much anything. There's something from Think and Grow Rich that I want to read to you. Let me see. Think and Grow. There's this thing in Think and Grow Rich that I want us to go into, that let me see if I can find it. Think and Grow Rich. You got to understand that there are some things that we read and we say. So we have to really see, like, what is it that I want to see in my life? Your thoughts matter. Here it is. I found my notes from Think and Grow Rich. Your thoughts matter, okay? And be determined to be ready until you get what you are seeking. So what are the things that you've allowed your thoughts to meditate on? You've got to know what you want. Be determined to get it. And these are notes from the book Think and Grow Rich. Be success conscious and not failure conscious. So failure conscious means that because, you had this bad experience with this person, or you watched a story on TikTok, or you heard this testimony that was a bad testimony, you now are like going to do the total opposite. You've got to not be moved by what other people are doing. Yes, you can get advice, you can hear their story. I always say this to people. I never ever want to have a bunch of people that look and sound just like me. Not the goal. The goal is that you would come into your own unique calling as a woman, that you would show up as your authentic self in every situation, that you would never show up as the representative. I don't believe in anybody showing up as a representative. People are like, oh, you date the representative for the first 3 months. No, that is not my reality. And that should not be your reality either. And if you don't reprogram your mind to the thoughts and the beliefs that will get you where you were destined to go, then you will only receive the negativity. So you need to be conscious focused and not failure focused, because what you focus on expands. Remember again, your thoughts matter. If you've never read the book Think and Grow Rich, I highly recommend it. That's one of the books I want to go into inside of our membership. I have a monthly membership. It is $77 for the month of March. And then in April, we're going up. So if you want to join us now, you need to join us, $77. And obviously almost every course I do, the little masterclasses like the challenge we're in now, is included in that. And I have some modules in the membership. It's called Unforgettable. So Be Unforgettable is called The Unforgettable Woman. It's about being unforgettable. Be the woman of your own dreams and his too. Love it. It's my favorite thing I've ever created. Anyway, inside of the membership, there are some modules where I went through the book Think and Grow Rich for Women. And we're probably going to do Think and Grow Rich, the main book, coming up very soon. And so listen to this. When one is truly ready for a thing, it will appear because you have a definite purpose. So if your mindset is that men are kind, men are compassionate, men are providers, men are good to me, men are godly, men are masculine, men are leaders, then guess what? You will begin to see more of that in your life, even in your platonics. And a lot of people go straight to marriage, but in general, your circle, your network, you will start to attract those kind of people when you are clear on that. However, this is what I will say this about when you start to attract men who provide. Men who provide don't also just provide finances. They will provide solutions. If you tell him a problem, and sometimes, and I will say this super honestly, like I don't really now like even explain problems anymore, because we'll be having a conversation. And then by nature of the conversation, something will come out as to what the need is or whatever. And then the first thought is, yeah, how can I help you? If you don't, and this is why I don't believe in these kind of trends where they're like, oh, gossiping with my man and things like that. And it's like, your man wants the tea. And I feel like, no, that's not appropriate. In my opinion, that's just me. Definitely do whatever works for your marriage and your life, etc. But I think that oftentimes when you speak to a man about things, he wants to provide a solution. And sometimes as women, we're not ready for the solution. We just really wanted to share our heart, and we just wanted to say something, and we wanted to speak about it. And I've found that for me, what works better for me, even something happened like yesterday, and I didn't text anyone about it. I didn't share it with anyone. What I did was I processed it with the Lord. I prayed about it. I let it go, and then I didn't see the need to bring it up to anybody. Learn how to have discretion. Everything you're thinking doesn't need to be said. And that's something we're learning in this month's experience and Magnetize in March. Whether you're married or single, learning how to practice discretion is a massive key in continuing to see your desires unfold every single day. Because guess what? Your brains will magnetize to the dominated thoughts in your mind. So if you believe that, oh, because I did this, or no one in my family has done this, and this relates to every area of your life, not just marriage. Because how you do, what do I always say? How you do one thing is typically how you do everything. What are the thoughts that you are having magnetized in your mind? For example, if you're on a weight loss journey, if you're always looking in the mirror saying, oh, I'm so fat, oh my gosh, I'm so ugly, ugh, horrible, I wish I looked like this. What you're doing is you are increasing that negativity in your life. I need to find a charger somewhere. I'm in like the most awkward position right now. Okay, I found a charger. Let's see if that does anything. That TikTok is about to shut down real quick. So if you're watching me somewhere else, try and catch me somewhere else. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. But my phone, my TikTok phone, I don't know where my charger is. What's this? Ah, okay, cool. Found the charger. Okay. So, and I'll be done in about 10 minutes. I'm going to be about 10 minutes, and then we're going to wrap up. Okay. Your desires matter. The word desire is Latin for of the Father. And I remember when I found that out, and I was like, this is why the Bible says, seek first the kingdom, and then all other things will be added. That's why it says that. Because when you start to, this is what the divine alignment looks like this. Your desires and your tastes begin to change the more you get closer to God. So I will now, sometimes I will see someone that I used to date, and I'll just be like, and they're great. Like, it's not shade to anybody. But what I'm saying is, I'll be like, what was I thinking during that season? And I realized that a lot of the times, the reason why things don't work out the way we want to is when you don't have the godly mindset of things. And of course, people are still human, and they can still reject and accept, just because you pray all the time doesn't mean your marriage won't, have struggles or things like that. However, if you believe and you keep, your thoughts need to be clear. I was teaching Bible study yesterday, and we were talking about that in the Bible study, about this idea of your thoughts. Your thoughts and beliefs make a big difference as to what you will magnetize in your life. And so in the story, in the book of, I'm such a preacher, in Think and Grow Rich, these are a couple of things I want to close out with. Success requires no apologies. There are so many people out there who are hating on marriage, hating on success, hating on this, hating on that. Learn to have blinders on. Learn to have blinders on where you're so focused on the life that God has for you, the destiny that belongs to you, that you're not concerned about what's going on around you. But when we get distracted, that's when we start to slip up. Sometimes we can look at other people's marriages. For those of you already married, or even if you're single, sometimes we look at other people's marriages and we want that marriage, not knowing anything that's going on with them in their household, or not knowing how they got there, not knowing that they've been together 20 years and they've got to this place by whatever, by experience of each other. And you're looking at saying, I want this, not knowing. But the best thing to do, what I found that works really well for all of my clients, is to stay focused on your own goal. Stay focused on your own marriage. Stay focused on your own children, your own destiny, your own job, your own business, your own everything. Learn how to be and then do. This live today has really turned into something else, but as I've been speaking, I've been feeling really the impression on the Lord that men who provide are the ones that love you. But one of the reasons why women reject provision, and I go back to this Gabrielle Union video that I was watching earlier, a lot of the times it is out of a trauma response. Hyper independence is a trauma response based on something you've experienced, whether it's lack when you were younger, whether it's being let down, whether it's abuse, whether it's lies. Those things are a trauma response. And what I need you to do, yes, success requires no apologies. I need you to get so steadfast, unmovable. That's Bible. Always abounding. What? In the truth. So you've got to learn to get to this place where you're going to always abound in truth. What is the truth that I'm doing in my life? What is it that God is calling me to be? And therefore, when you realize this, you will only begin to magnetize the things and people to you that you were meant for. And so the final thing I want you to do today is, this is what I want to say. I said this on my Bible study that I had with my church last night, and it was this. I read this somewhere. I don't know where I either heard it somewhere or I read it somewhere a couple of days ago. And the lady said this. She said that worry is you practicing atheism. Worry is you practicing atheism. So we have no business worrying about this, worrying about that. Rather, when you become, for the ladies watching, when you become the woman of your own dreams, you got to realize that I do not quit on this dream. A lot of people teach that you have the desire and then you let it go. Not biblical. It's not biblical for you to let go and let God. Before someone calls me a heretic, let's go and let God Bible verse. Let's see. There is no verse in the Bible that says let go and let God, okay? Just to be clear, I just had to quickly do a quick check. There is no verse that says let go and let God. No verse. There's no verse. No such thing. The only thing that sounds similar is Proverbs 3 that says trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him and he will make your paths straight. But guess what that says? That means that when that really affirms everything I've been saying. Actually, let me go ahead and copy and paste that somewhere no, actually, let's leave that. That actually confirms everything I'm saying today. That when you trust in, have faith in your desires, who God has called you to be, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and you don't lean to your understanding, that means you don't lean to circumstances, you don't lean to your experiences, you don't lean to what the news said, you don't lean to what the president just did, or you don't lean to what your Facebook people said, your TikTok people said, Instagram, whatever. You don't lean to that. But in all your ways, you submit to him, as in you come under the mission that God has for your life. He will make your path straight. That means that no matter what you do, you're going to be successful. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to do a whole live on that one verse. That verse is so powerful. So there's no letting go there's no letting go of our desires. You don't need to let go and let God, because guess what? When you become in alignment, your desires start chasing you. And so, in closing, I'm going to close now. I've been live for 41 minutes, which I thought I was only going to be 30 minutes. But anyway, in closing, men who provide are the ones that love for you. But you often reject it because of trauma, because of doubting, and because of what you've allowed yourself to believe about your worth. But a woman who receives provision knows what to do with it. She shows up consistently in a particular way that makes him feel like it's joy to provide, like it's his joy to provide. Have you seen them? You know, I'm sure you've seen those couples. I was watching this video. I'll close with this. I was watching this video before we got on live on TikTok, and the lady said to her husband, she said to him that she's going to go on a spending ban for 3 months. And this guy almost choked on his drink because he was like, there is no way you're going to stop spending. Just take my card, stop lying. And I was laughing so much, because that was a man who knows his wife, right? And it was just, it was a little bit of joke and banter. But the point is, it's his joy. It was his joy. He's like, oh yeah, whatever. It was his joy. And you can see it, like a genuine joy in his face and the way he was showing up and speaking and so on. You could see a genuine joy because they have fun together. Obviously, I don't know them, don't live with them. So, I'm just taking what I see. But you need to discern for yourself. Stop asking for a million signs and you want this door to be open and you want that, and realize that God has given you everything that you need. And so if you've been watching this today and you're saying, Rachel, you're a woman that's watching and you're saying, Rachel, I would love to join your challenge, your 21-day experience, Magnetizing March. If you're watching me on YouTube and Facebook, the link is on the bottom. We've already started, but it's not too late to join me. Not Twitter. I don't go live on Twitter. TikTok and Instagram, it's pinned there, but you can also DM me, send me a message, and I will send you the link. And if you would like any private coaching, private consultations, I do have availability, but you have to message me. Those things are not publicly shared. But if you want that, you can send me a message and we'll discuss whether we're a great fit. And let me tell you something. If we are not a great fit, I will send you to somebody else. You tell me what you need. And if I can't assist you in what you desire, then I will definitely forward you to someone else. And if you're a man watching this and you're wondering, is there any male teachers out there who teach something that's really good or that you could speak to? Yes, there are. And I will send you those people too. There's a couple of people that have been very, very helpful in my life that really do speak to men. And I trust them like wholeheartedly. And so if you need someone to talk to you as a man and you would like to have a male perspective, then I will send you their information. But if you would like to speak to me, let me know and I'll definitely get that together. All right. So God bless everybody. Bye-bye, YouTube and Facebook. Bye, TikTok.